Hey y'all, welcome back, and thanks for joining me for the Ajayi Effect Podcast, where you are reminded that you're never alone on the winding road of life. Here, you can show up as yourself for the whole journey. Your struggles are acknowledged, your victories are celebrated, and if it's happening in the world, we will discuss it. Here, you are capable of big things. We'll get into our conversation in a few, but first, a toast to our sponsor, me, Ajayi. Dupay's professional journey embodies the power of marketing for positive change, driven by a steadfast commitment to equity, with roles at organizations such as Airbnb, ABC News, and Rent the Runway. Dupay has honed her skills as a storyteller and as a marketer. Each experience has contributed to her expertise in crafting narratives that inspire change. If access isn't at the core, she won't be. Follow Dupay here at the Ajayi Effect Podcast and on all platforms at the Ajayi Effect. Okay, let's get into it. How y'all doing? Yeah, I figured. So listen, today we are continuing our discussion on the American dream. Is it still alive? And if so, for whom? Last time, we explored the history of this idea and how economic realities have forced many Americans to redefine success, right? But since then, more reports, more stories, more voices have surfaced. And if the last episode left you thinking, damn, maybe the dream is dead, then you about to be in the casket, y'all. No, just kidding. You are not alone, is what I really want to say. Before we go any further, let's be clear. This is not a conversation about nostalgia. Because for me, what was in this country, that is in the US, was not ideal, right? This isn't about longing for some mythical past where everything was supposedly perfect, because for a lot of folks, the past wasn't great either. This is about what people are experiencing today and what comes next. In my research for this episode, I came across a documentary called Two American Families, which followed two working class families from 1991 to 2024. And at the core of their struggle was this simple truth of hard work alone not guaranteeing success for anybody. As a reminder, take a listen.
We're raised to believe that each generation can and will do better than the last. But is that really true?
In a Frontline special presentation, the continuation of Bill Moyer's portrait of two families chasing the American dream. The Stanleys.
It's called Rob Peter to Pay Paul. Yeah. And I'm robbing Peter so much that Peter is just standing there.
I'm hitting 70 years old now. And it's time for me to have it together.
Ain't no sense of fooling ourselves.
And the Newmans.
Having money coming in consistently is more important than spending time with my children all the time like I used to.
Money used to be a big thing. Now there's so many more things that are really more important than money.
If our wages get raised, then everything else goes up. There is no wiggle room for anything.
Now, 34 years in the making, the intimate and revealing story of two American families.
I still believe in hard work, but I will say that I think we are fooling ourselves when we believe that it's only hard work.
There are so many people that are in the same situation, that are struggling the same way. It's like we haven't come very far.
Who gets to dream? Americans are not just asking if the dream is dead. They're asking, who is it even built for in the first place? Here's what I mean. Homeownership, a milestone of the American dream. Well, 75% of Americans say it's essential, but only 10% believe it's within reach. A stable career. Young professionals, old professionals, every professional, degree, certification, or not, are applying for hundreds of jobs with no callbacks. And layoffs are happening across the board. Corporate, nonprofit, and governmental. Financial security. More than half of Americans now say they would need at least $100,000 a year just to feel comfortable. Yet, the median household income is $81,000 a year. And for those who say, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, just work harder, let me remind you that wages have not kept up with inflation for the past 50 years. People aren't struggling because they are lazy. They are struggling because the math just don't math, y'all. But this isn't just an economic crisis. It is also a crisis of meaning. For the first time in American history, there are more single adults without children than married adults with children. 40% of all births now happen outside of marriage, up from 18% in 1980. And that's not to say that marriage is the ultimate goal, because anywho, but it does signal a profound and maybe needed shift in how Americans are structuring their lives. Community, sadly, is dissolving. The social structures that once gave purpose, family, faith, and civic engagement are declining. But something tells me in my spirit that, given where we are right now, isolation is going to be out the door and community is going to be on the rise. It is what is required for the times that we are in right now. People are more connected than ever to technology, but they are also more isolated than ever. That is the reality. And then there's this. Addiction rates are through the roof, y'all. People are trying to escape. There's social media, porn, video games, marijuana use. These things surpass alcohol consumption. Over 100,000 people a year die from drug overdoses. The weight of modern American life has made despair normal. And that, friends, should concern us all. So what do we do with all of this? What do we do next? Well, if you're waiting for a top-down solution, if you are waiting for government to swoop in and fix everything, in case you haven't watched the news, you're going to be waiting for a long time, friend. It's not happening. Yes, policy does matter. Yes, leadership matters. But for real change, it has always started at the community level. That is what is required. And if there's one thing that I know for sure, we are going to have to build this new version of the American dream for ourselves. We are going to have to define success on our own terms. Now, that might make some people uncomfortable, especially if for you, success has always meant the house, the kids, the dog, the picket fence. That may not apply in 2025 and beyond, y'all. Maybe for you, the dream is about building generational wealth, not just for your kids, but for your nieces, your nephews, for your chosen family. Or maybe the dream is now about breaking cycles of trauma and burnout. Maybe the dream is about stability, having enough, not necessarily chasing more. But most importantly, maybe the dream isn't about what we can get, but what we can create. Because let's be real, once again, none of us are going to be able to get through this time alone. I don't know if we'll ever get back to the America of 1940. I don't want to. Or at that time, 90% of kids did better than their parents. I don't know if we'll ever reach a world where home ownership is easy or wages finally catch up. That is a dream that continues to be sold to us, isn't it? But what I do know for sure, what I do know is this. If the old dream isn't working, then we have the power to build a new one. We must pivot. We must shift. And that is the work. Maybe I didn't tell you this at the top. I'm not keeping you here all day. I usually say I'm not going to be on here for a long time, but for an informative, a good, a fun time. But before we go, let me leave you with this. All hope, y'all, is not lost. Hope is not dead. The system is broken, but we are not powerless. Do not get lost in despair. Get lost in the possibility, because you and me, us, we are capable of big things.